The old jeep rumbled down the dusty road, its occupants a symphony of youthful exuberance. Laughter spilled out of the open windows, mingling with the summer breeze. Excitement crackled in the air, as palpable as the scent of pine needles and damp earth. It was the first day of summer vacation, and for 5 friends, this trip promised an escape from the mundane, a plunge into the heart of adventure. The friends, Mark, Jessica, Chris, Ashley and Kevin, had been planning this trip for months. A remote cabin nestled deep within the Redwood National Park, accessible only by a barely there dirt road. It was the perfect setting for a week of unadulterated fun. Mark, the self-proclaimed leader, drummed his fingers on the dashboard, his eyes bright with anticipation. Beside him, Jessica, her blonde hair flying in the wind, kept glancing at the map, a frown creasing her brow. "Jessica, are you sure this is the right way, Mark? This road seems to be leading us deeper and deeper into nowhere." Mark laughed, his confidence unwavering. "Mark, relax, Jess. This is all part of the adventure. Besides, I've been here before with my dad. I know exactly where we're going." They drove for another hour, the sun beginning its descent, casting long, eerie shadows across their path. The air grew cooler, the sounds of the forest intensifying around them. The rustling of leaves, the distant call of a bird, the snap of a twig. It was a symphony of nature, both beautiful and unsettling. The cabin, when they finally found it, stood nestled in a clearing, bathed in the golden glow of the setting sun. It was a rustic, 2-story structure built from weathered logs, its windows dark and seemingly lifeless. An eerie silence hung in the air, broken only by the chirping of crickets and the whisper of the wind through the trees. As Mark pulled the jeep to a stop in front of the porch, his friends erupted in excited chatter. They piled out of the vehicle, their earlier apprehension forgotten, and raced towards the cabin, their voices echoing in the stillness. The cabin was everything they had hoped for. Cozy, secluded, and with a hint of mystery that sent shivers down their spines. Dust motes danced in the last rays of the setting sun that streamed through the grime-coated windows. The furniture was old and musty, but sturdy. The fireplace, built from river rock, promised warmth and flickering shadows on cold nights. They spent the rest of the evening unpacking, exploring the cabin and the surrounding woods, and settling into their home for the next week. As darkness fell, they built a fire in the hearth, the flames casting a warm glow on their faces. Stories and laughter filled the cabin, pushing back the shadows and the growing unease that lingered at the edges of their merriment. The following morning dawned bright and promising. The forest was alive with the sounds of birdsong and the chatter of squirrels. The friends, energized by the fresh air and the beauty that surrounded them, set out to explore their surroundings. They hiked through the towering redwoods, their footsteps muffled by the thick carpet of pine needles. They swam in a crystal-clear lake, its surface reflecting the azure sky like a giant mirror. They shared stories, secrets, and dreams, their laughter echoing through the trees. But as the sun began its descent, so too did a palpable sense of unease settle over their idyllic haven. It began subtly at first, a feeling of being watched, a fleeting shadow at the edge of their vision, a rustle in the undergrowth that couldn't be explained. Then there were the whispers, soft sibilant murmurs carried on the wind, too low to decipher, yet undeniably present. They seemed to emanate from the depths of the forest, weaving their way through the trees, wrapping around the cabin like icy fingers. "Ashley, did you hear that?" Ashley whispered one evening, her eyes wide with apprehension. They were gathered around the fire, the flames casting dancing shadows on their faces. A log crackled in the hearth, sending a shower of sparks up the chimney. Outside, the wind howled like a banshee, rattling the windows and setting their nerves on edge. Kevin asked, his brow furrowed. He tried to sound nonchalant, but Ashley could see the flicker of unease in his eyes. "Ashley, that whispering. It's like someone's talking, but I can't make out the words." The others exchanged uneasy glances. They'd all heard it, the faint whispers that seemed to coil around them in the silence of the night. But they had brushed it off as their imaginations, a trick of the wind playing on their heightened senses. Now, doubt began to creep in, cold and insidious. Chris, maybe it's just the wind. This place is pretty isolated. It's probably just the trees and the animals. His words did little to reassure them. The whispers continued, growing bolder now, weaving through their dreams, slithering into their waking moments.